Okay, guys, so Mrs. Horner here again, and we're going to talk about osmosis, which is the movement of water across a membrane. Now, keep in mind that osmosis is a passive transport, right? Osmosis is a passive transport. So that means it's going to go from a high concentration to a low, and no energy is going to be needed. Just the molecules are going to move themselves like you riding a bike down a hill. Well, what we have set up here is I have 3 beakers and I put an aqueous solution, which means a solution involving water and some sort of salt. And I'm just going to say salt in this case, okay? Or it could be water and sugar, or it could be water and phosphates or something, or water and nitrates, anything. Okay, but it's water and something else. And we're going to say salt in this case. Now, here we have a potato. And in each of the potatoes, let's say the potatoes are about 5% salts. What does that make then the water? Okay, now think about that. 5% salts, percent is per 100. So if you have 5 of salts, then how much water do you have? Good, 95. 95 here, 95 here, and 95 here. And let's say that is a potato's homeostasis, okay? When it's 5% salts and 95% water, because potatoes have a lot of water in them, okay? Then it's in its balance, okay? And if we throw those potatoes in 3 different solutions, one's isotonic, one's hypertonic, and one's hypotonic. What's the difference, okay? And what's going to happen to the potatoes in these, okay? Well, we're going to have the movement of water, but how? Let's take the easiest one first. Iso means the same tonics. Tonics are like tonic, that part is kind of like the salts in this case. So we're going to say so we're talking about this solution here, and this is the solution outside the potato. That's like what the potato is like swimming in, okay? It's going to have the same solutes, in this case it's the salt, in the solution as what's compared to in the potato. So same solutes, in this case it's the salt, in the solution compared to in the potato. Okay, so the key word there is same. So let's figure this out then. So if this out here has got to be the same in here, it's kind of like so easy that it makes it difficult. So if this is supposed to be the same as this, then this is 5, right? So if that's 5, then this is also 95. Now, remember, we define the solution based off of the salt. The salt is the same, but we look at how the water is going to move. Is the water going to move out of the potato or into the potato, or both? Okay, since the water is both 95 out and 95 in, we're going to draw an arrow, and I'm going to do it in red, but we know that's the water. It's going in and out at an equal rate. This is at equilibrium, at equilibrium. So I want you to get to know the term like iso kind of means like equal, equilibrium, okay? It's going to be the same. So like if they give you an isotonic IV, like if you go into the hospital and you have to get an IV, they will give you an isotonic IV. They want it to be equal to you. They don't want it to be anything else, or else it could kill you. It could dehydrate you, it could kill you, whatever. Okay, now let's look at the next one. According to the definition of hypertonic, now think, if someone's hyper, they have a lot of energy. Well, in this case, hypertonic, we're going to have more solutes. So it's going to kind of be the same definition, except we're changing just one word. More solutes, which is the salt, in the solution compared to in the potato. Okay, so here it's more solids. So let's get my brown marker here. So we look at the salts because a potato is the same. A potato is a potato is a potato is a potato. All potatoes want to have like about 5% salts in them. But we're going to put in a solution that's going to be hypertonic. It's going to have more salt in it than it does outside. So just give me a number that's greater than 5. Okay? 10 sounds good. Let's go bigger. Let's go with 20. Okay, 20% salts. That is definitely hypertonic. That's more. But what is the water? Because remember, we're talking about osmosis. We don't really care about the salt. It's not going to move. It's going to say 20 here and 5 there. It's just going to be like that. We care about the water. If this is 20%, what's the percent of water got to be? So I'm waiting. So think, this had to add up to 100. So this must add up to 100. So yes, this is 80% water. Now compare this 95 to 80. Which is greater than 95 is, so let me get my red pen. Which way is the water going to move? It's going to move out. You know what that's going to do to the potato? It's going to make it all limpy, limpy, wimpy. Okay, because all the water is going to go out of it and it's going to dehydrate it. It's like a plant when it needs water, it's all wilted. That potato is going to get wilted because it's like it's drinking salty water. What would happen if you drank salty water? Yeah, you'd get all dehydrated too. Okay, so this one, let's write the potato gets wilted. You know what that's called? That's called low, I'm drawing O before L, low Turgor pressure. Because Turgor pressure is the pressure that's within plant cells, right? And it would have very low pressure. It'd be wilted, so it wouldn't have very high pressure at all. It would not be a crispy potato. Okay, you put potatoes in salt water, it will make them mushy. Okay. All right, let's move on to the last one. Hypotonic is the opposite of hypertonic. Hyper was more, so guess what this one's going to be? This one was the same. This one's more, so this one, correct, is less. Less solutes, which is so less salts. Okay, salt. In the solution, remember this is the hypotonic solution, like this was the hypertonic. In the solution compared to in the potato. Okay, so now let's do our numbers. Okay, if this is 5, then this has got to be less. Let's go as low as we can, but still have salt. So we'll give this a 1%. Okay, now if that's 1, remember it's got to add up to 100. So this one's going to be 99. Now again, we look at the 99 and we look at the 95, and now the 99 is greater. So what's the water going to do? Because the salt is less, the water is greater. Water is going to flow into, sorry, that almost looks like I drew an arrow there, into, let's make that arrow accentuated here, into the potato, and it's going to fill up that potato, and then because the potato has cell walls, it's going to push hard. You know what that's going to do? That's going to be a potato gets crispy. Okay, that's high Turgor pressure. High Turgor pressure. It's the same thing that happens if you water a plant. When you water a plant, you're giving it like 100% water. And all that water is rushing into the plant. It's making it not be wilted anymore. It's making it spring up. I think about my poinsettias. After Christmas time, I have my poinsettias sitting in the living room, sitting in the dining room and stuff. And sometimes I forget to water them until I look at them and they're all wilted. So I throw water on them and they get spring right back up. Now, that's plants. Osmosis happens in plants, definitely. Osmosis. Okay, but can it happen in animal cells? Well, let's take your blood. Now, let's say, and I'm just going to put one blood cell in here. Okay, so a blood cell is actually kind of like a disc with an indentation in it. If it was an isotonic, it would be equal. in and out, right? But what if you put it in a hypertonic solution? You know what would happen to your blood cells? They'd shrivel up. They'd shrivel up because they would be losing water and the blood cells would shrivel. So we would say if this was blood cells would shrinky dink, right? Would shrivel. That has a term also, not called low turgor pressure. That's called plasmolysis. Plasmolysis. That's what happens when cells shrivel up, okay? But what would happen to the blood if it was put in like pure water? Well, those cells would like fill up until they burst. Okay, because all that water would be rushing into the cells and the cells would burst. So in this case, the blood cells would fill up and maybe even burst. If it bursts, that's called cytolysis. Cytolysis, the death of a cell. They could just fill up. Okay. Now in plants, why don't they burst? Because they have a cell wall around them. So that high turgor pressure, they have a cell wall that will prevent them from bursting. But an animal cell, we don't have cell walls. So our cells could burst. So if you go into the hospital and they give you an IV and it says hypotonic on it, run. Get it out of your arm and run out of there because it's going to end up bursting your blood cells and it would kill you. Okay. So too much of a good thing is not very good. So you don't want to put pure water into your bloodstream. But we drink pure water, and why doesn't that affect us? Because it will diffuse in, and we usually don't drink water all the time. In fact, we're going to do a little investigative thing of a situation where a girl drank water, and never allowed herself to pee it out. You got to allow yourself to pee that water out, or else it could become deadly, okay? Something called hyponatremia. Okay, and we're going to do a little thing on it. Okay, so here are the three types of solutions when it comes to water. Isotonic is just right. By the way, if we write the blood here, blood is okay. Okay, the blood is okay if you get an isotonic solution. And if you put potato in an isotonic solution, it stays just right. Okay, hypertonic solution, more salts, but that means less water. Hypertonic, I like to think hyper. It's going to shrivel up, okay? And it's going to wilt up the potato. Low turgor pressure or possibly plasmolysis if it's an animal cell, okay? But hypotonic, high turgor pressure. Plants like that and they won't burst. They'll just get crispy with high turgor pressure because they have a cell wall. Will keep them from bursting. But animal cells, if they fill up with water, they could burst and that could be very deadly. So there's osmosis, diffusion of water across a membrane, the movement of water across a membrane, always going from a high concentration to a low. We define the solution around as hypotonic, based off of the salt. But we look at how the water moves. Does it move equally in both directions? Does it just move out? Or does it just move in? I like to think hypotonic makes it move in. Hypertonic shrivels it up. And isotonic is just right. Okay? And that's osmosis for you.